Welcome to episode 24 of the Ben Briggs podcast. I am Ben Briggs. It's Saturday, 27th of July, 2019. And it's a fucking clammy one today. After it being the hottest day ever recorded, I think it was anyway. I don't know. Let's play it out there. The hottest day ever recorded on Thursday in the UK, Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland, fucking not Ireland, not Southern Ireland. Anyway, they're fucking a bit tetchy about that. And Wales, the hottest day, apparently. Apparently it was. It was like in the 90s. And it's just fucking hot today and rainy, so it's humid as fuck. So I'm still sitting here sweating my little testes off whilst I try and get this podcast done before I go out tonight. Not going out, not socialising, man. Not socialising, but I've got a gig tonight in fucking Burnley. Hence the reason it's like about 3:15 Saturday afternoon on getting this done, because I got no chance of making it back in time for the cut-off of midnight tonight with that target I set myself of getting it done and out, the podcast done and out every Tuesday and Saturday. So I've got to do it before I fucking go. And because Burnley is fucking miles away, I have no idea what this gig is going to be like tonight. My old gigdar is going a little bit beep, 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 because I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a fucking shitfest. I don't know. I've never done a gig for this guy before. He's got me closing the gig, and it just doesn't seem right. Something doesn't fit right with me. And the worst thing is I got offered another gig for slightly more money, but I thought, no, Ben, you're a man of your word, or at least you were trying to be. You will do the original gig you were booked for, but the more I look into it, the less it seems like it's going to be good. I ain't going to lie to you. Ah, dear. It's the first gig the guy's ever booked. I know. I don't know. I might be pleasantly surprised. Hey, let's keep it beat, Ben. But the old gig is fucking kicking in, thinking that something's up, Benny boy. Something's going to be up with this gig tonight. So, I don't know. I've never fucking been to Burnley before. It's got the recipe for me, an individual on this gig, to be horrendous. It's fucking miles away. It's about 170 miles away, so it's going to take me, well, it says, hey man, Google says 3 hours. Yeah, it ain't going to be 3 hours. It's going to be 4, because our road system in this fucking country is destroyed. And there's going to be 50-mile-an-hour zones all the way up. So it's going to be possibly about 4 hours to get there. It's in a pub, which isn't too bad. Doesn't seem too bad. Let's not hold the pub against this gig. But it's just, I don't know. I don't know, man. There's just something in the back of my mind thinking this is going to be a real fucker. And then you got that long 4-hour drive home just to fucking try and piece your psyche together. After a fucking shit gig, not even listening to the radio, just driving home in silence. Anyway, something to look forward to for me there, people. I hope your Saturday's going all right and you haven't got the fucking thoughts of trepidation running through your fucking head. It's just, when the guy messaged me, like, saying it was the first gig he's organised and that, I was like, oh, fuck it. I should have just done the other gig. But we'll see. We'll see how it's like, what it's going to be like. And just deal with, hey, you just play the course in front of you, people, don't you? That's it. That's all you can do. Just play the course in front of you. Hopefully they've sold tickets. Hopefully it's not just in the main bar of a fucking pub, because I've Googled the pub and it looks a bit lively. So we'll see. But apparently he's sold a few tickets and that sort of thing. I've got to start saying that on a podcast. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, so sorry about that. Bit snotty today, bit bunged up. Yeah, so hopefully it should be all right, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Something's wrong. Something's wrong on Clammy. Maybe that's something to do with the gig. I don't know. But anyway, I don't know anything about Burnley. I've never been there before. It's near Manchester, apparently. I know they've got a football team. They're shit. The only thing I tried Googling it earlier, not to do that thing of like what some acts will do. They'll Google every place and go, "Hey man, I really like your fucking sculpture you've got in the town centre there," and then do a few lines about the town. I don't really give a shit, to be honest. I don't do that. I don't want to ingratiate. Why would anyone want to ingratiate themselves to an audience? That's not particularly my style. Yeah, I googled a few bits and fuck all came up. Really, on their Wikipedia page for Burnley is mainly saying it's a fucking manufacturing hub of something. They've won a couple of awards for things. I don't know. It looks like a nondescript sort of place. I know the people living there, they're enjoying their lives, aren't they? But, you know, there's not many multimillionaires moving to Burnley, I don't think, saying this is the place I want to be. It seems the sort of place where you sort of like try and get out of the landmarks on Wikipedia. This made me laugh. There's 4 of them. One of them's the Leeds-Liverpool Canal that seems to go through Burnley. It's not the Burnley-Liverpool Canal, it's the Leeds-Liverpool Canal. Something called Weaver's Triangle, something called the Singing Ringing Tree. That's a sculpture. There we go. I could make hey, man, I noticed you're a singing ringing tree. What's all that about? Oh, my God, this geezer's done his research. That's what they'll be saying. This guy is one of us. He has done his research. Not in that accent, they won't. With their northern tones. And then Townley Hall. That's the 4 things in Burnley where they put on there. So fuck knows what the actual place is like if they're the landmarks. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Culture and entertainment. Then the first thing is museums and galleries. Yeah, because people love looking round them, Burnley, don't they? Oh, I want to be culturally entertained. Where are we going to go? To a museum? Fuck off. And then parks is the second one. So, Jesus Christ, God knows what it's like. It's going to be awful. You never know. It could be packed out there this evening. People thinking, this is the first time comedy has ever happened in Burnley. We're going to go. We're going to go. But I don't know. The old gig diary's ringing like fuck. So I don't know. It's gonna be having to get up for it when I'm driving to the gig. That 4 hours stuck in my car without any fucking aircon. The old crack will be moist, I imagine, by the time I get there. That'll be nice. That'll be nice for me. Anyway, be positive, Ben. Positive. Come on. Assume the character. Anyway, so I got that tonight, and then no doubt I'm going to be late. So hence the reason I'm here right now doing this podcast. No time when I get back. No time. But it was fucking hot, and it was fucking hot on Thursday. I just hibernated. That's what I did. I was like a bear. I just thought I ain't going out on Thursday at all. So I got up early, and then by about midday I was starting to feel a bit woozy and a bit dozy when it was starting to get warm. So I just slept through the hot bit. And then when I went outside, I had to go outside about 5 o'clock and open the front door, and it was just hit me. It was still fucking red hot at like 5 o'clock at night. I'm not going to cope, people. That's what I've decided. I'm not going to cope whatsoever if global warming happens. I'm going to be one of the first ones gone. It's just, I can't cope with the heat at all. I don't mind if I can just sleep and somebody brings me food or something, but when you've got to go around and do stuff, Jesus. I'm taking on water. Just take it on water. That's it. I'll be about 2 weeks. 2 weeks I'd last, I think. Like if the annual temperature raises by about 10 degrees, I'm gonna be out of here. I think I'm gonna be lasting about 2 weeks. I don't cope at all with the hot weather. I don't cope with cold weather either. There's a sort of like I'm a room temperature guy. That's what I've realised. Something like about 21 degrees. That's okay. What's that? About 70 odd. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I can function. Any higher than that, and I'm struggling. Really, really struggling. So it's going to be windows down all the way to Burnley, the lovely town of Burnley, and see the fucking singing ringing tree on the way in. It's singing and it's ringing. It's a fucking tree made out of pipes. Burnley, the future of the fucking organ, the church organ. It's basically a tree with a church organ by the looks of it. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but I'm gonna be driving up with the windows wound down, sweating my balls off for 4 hours, which will be nice. It'll be longer than 4 hours as well because I'll inevitably need to stop for a piss because I'm 42 now. So that's it. Anyway, Ben, what you been up to this week? I'll tell you fucking what I've been up to this week, apart from sweating my little testes off. I've been out and about, man. Been out and about. Went swimming a couple of times. Still keeping up the swimming, I know. I'm getting there. Getting there. Still got my fucking ear fucked up. Booked in to have my ears syringed. They don't do that anymore, Ben. That's what I've been told by everybody I've mentioned that to. Not that I'm going up to strangers telling them that. Like I'm some sort of fucking mental case. I'm having my ears syringed in 2 weeks. They don't do that anymore. They do. Apparently they do. They do at my doctors anyway. So fuck knows. Fuck knows what's happening at everybody else's doctors, but mine, old school doctors, they're still doing the old ear syringing for free on the NHS. Or I could have paid 50 quid to have it sucked out. So I didn't have that done. But because I ain't fucking, that is the mentality to healthcare in England, because we get it free. It's like, fuck that. I'm not paying for that. Jesus, you can. I don't mind burdening the country just so I can hear it's mildly a little bit better. Yeah. So I've got that booked in for a couple of weeks, but I've still been going swimming anyway. I know, making the problem worse, but I don't give a shit because I'm trying to get my money out of my gym membership. So I've been swimming another couple of times this week. Is it paying off for you, Ben? I don't know, really, to be perfectly honest. I don't know. I'm still vaping. So I'm chlorine, no longer putting tar into my lungs. I'm putting like some sort of popcorny, flavoury, pink lemonade shit into my lungs instead. But I seem to be getting a little bit fitter. I don't know. It seems to be getting a bit easier. He says, sweating his balls off like just while he's sitting down. I think I'm getting a little bit fitter. You're out of breath and you're sitting down, Ben. What's wrong with you? I don't know. One thing I did watch this week, I don't know if you've watched this. I like my documentaries, man. I like my weird, obscure documentaries, and watched one on Netflix called Porndemic. I know. It sounds like a fucking monster movie. Just like a giant, big-titted beast just going around destroying Tokyo. But it was, it's an expose, man. Is it an expose? No, probably people were exposed in it. They were definitely exposed in it. But it's a documentary about the porn industry of the late 90s. And how it sounds grim. It sounds grim initially, but it's a documentary about it. It's called Porndemic, a documentary. Obviously, it's all in the name, isn't it? About the late 90s, early 90s porn industry and how they all got infected with HIV. I know, it's not easy watching. But it was fucking interesting. And they did a sort of like genealogy of everybody who'd fucked everybody else in the American porn industry to try and track down who brought the HIV in. And the geezer's still alive today. I forget what his name was. Fucking Jason Wallace, was it? Was it Jason Wallace? I don't know. It was somebody Wallace. Who'd been in about 1,700 films. And allegedly, he was patient zero for bringing in HIV into the porn industry. Just one guy. I can't believe that. You can't believe it's just one guy who infected like the whole of the porn industry. But it was quite interesting how they sort of like backtracked through everything, and everybody had to give a list of people they've worked with, and some of these lists were fucking huge. Jesus, they don't fuck around. Well, they do fuck around. But Jesus, say what you like about people in the porn industry. They ain't lazy. I tell you what, they are. Some of them are fucking workaholics, doing 3 or 4 films a day. Jesus Christ. But they've got some stamina, I'll give them that. But it was quite interesting when you were watching it, and it actually backtracked. And obviously, he infected women, and he was saying, "Hey man, I don't." And they were saying, trying to find out how he actually got it. And he was obviously a drug user, but he was like, "Hey man, I've never shared needle." That old thing. I'm really careful when I take drugs and get whacked off my tits. When I'm just about to inject into me, I'm so careful that I don't share needles when I'm absolutely smacked off my bonce. And he was like, I've only injected 3 times. It was like the old Bill Clinton. I never inhaled. But he was either using drugs, and then I think they also said, or it could have been from gay porn. That he was doing, and he was like, "Hey man, I never did gay porn," and then the next minute there's a video of him being bent over by some guy. You can't lie when they got you on film, bud. But it was quite the interesting thing about it was like how they tracked it all down, and they actually tracked it down, which was horrible for the women who were working for him. Particular scenes, like they still had the video scenes and said they've tracked it to the point where this is the scene where she was infected with HIV, and it'll just show you, well, you know, it wasn't graphic. It just showed you her face in that scene. And she didn't look as though she knew she was getting HIV. I tell you, she looked quite happy. I think if she was being told at that point during that scene that she was getting it, I imagine she'd have had a different expression on her face. But yeah, it was quite an interesting documentary. Just for you know how they can track back through. They can track everything these days, can't they? You know, like if they can track the exact scene when somebody got HIV, it's pointless murdering anyone anymore. Isn't it? They're going to catch us at some point. Definitely worth a watch if you've got nothing better to do in the day than watch weird documentaries about stuff, which I haven't, to be perfectly honest. Let's take on a bit of water. Fucking hell, I am pissing out sweat at the moment. This is going to be... let's have a look. How long have we got? Fucking hell, I've got about 45 minutes before I've got to leave about 4:30. Fuck me. Let's take on a little bit of water. Replenish some of this sweat that's pissing out of me. That's nice. Mouthful of water. That would be nice. I might as well just throw it on the my car seat at the moment, because that's how it's going to be pissing out in about an hour's time. Anyway, what else we got? Yeah, there was quite an interesting story as well. that I saw on the BBC News website. Hey, man, is that all you do? Yeah, probably. Anyway, yeah, it was a mass brawl on British cruise ship. This is what British people do best. We have brawls on holiday. That's what we do. 6 people were hurt as P&O's Britannia sailed to Southampton after a week-long trip to Norway fjords. Good morning, Britain journalist. A man and a woman in their 40s have been arrested on suspicion of assault. Well, basically, there was a mass brawl on a fucking ferry. This is what British people do well. We do a mass brawl. That's what we do. We're an island nation. We'll have a brawl on a ferry. It's second nature to us on the water, isn't it? That's our island status. We'll fight them on the fucking P&O ferries. That's what we'll do now. That's what we're doing. One witness explained to staff that things kicked off when another passenger appeared dressed as a clown. Classic. We don't like clowns. That's it. That is a classic British response to something. Somebody is dressed differently, so we will not inquire why that person is dressed differently. We will just fucking kick off and beat the fuck out of them. That is amazing. You know what I'd have done as the if I was the captain of that P&O ferry and it was kicking off because somebody was dressed as a clown at apparently a black tie do. And they'd kicked off because they specifically booked a non-fancy dress cruise, and somebody come down dressed as a clown. If somebody is beating the shit out, you've got to play the circus music, haven't you? As they're getting their fucking head bashed in with a fucking life belt, bang. Oh dear, you would do that. They've missed a trick there, haven't they? You know, if somebody is kicking off because of that, you'd have to play that, wouldn't you? That would be fucking hilarious. Oh Jesus! So yeah, they kicked off because they didn't want somebody dressed as a clown. Fucking who specifically books a cruise? Saying, I don't know, were they fucking sexually assaulted by a clown when they were younger? They might have been. Dear. They should have fucking, that's what they should have done. They should have fucking threw him overboard, the clown. And then done the classic it words, we all float down here. They've missed 2 tricks there. Dear. But, yeah, that made me laugh so much when I read that story. I can just imagine just being whacked on his red nose, trying to run away from these people in his big fucking shoes. Oh, dear. That was an old man laugh there, wasn't it? Jesus. But, yeah, I was laughing so much reading that story, man. Oh, dear. Dear. Just trying to run away from him in the big stupid shoes. Oh, they're just facing off to him and he does the old flower trick with the water coming out. And they just maul him. 2 people have been arrested, a man aged 43 and a 41-year-old woman from Chingwell, Essex. Where else would it be from? Where else? Who else would kick off at a clown than somebody from Essex? We're slagging off all the areas today. Hey, we've slagged off to the north, Burnley. I don't even know what it's like. I've never been there. Just sound shit. It might be amazing when I get there. We've slagged off the south of Essex as well, which I have been to. A few gigs I've done down in Essex, and one of them, it pretty much did kick off into a brawl. But nobody dressed as a clown. That's the best thing. No clowns were injured within the brawl that I saw. Maybe they're branching out in Essex. I don't know. 5.5 minutes of the podcast to go. Jesus, I just knocked over my water. Fuck. Never mind. It's only going to dry up in a matter of seconds at the minute. 5.5 minutes of the podcast to go. Holy shit. What can we talk about now? I'll tell you what we'll talk about. We can get this easy subject to solve. Sorted in 5.5 minutes. Why not? Ben, this is not going to bring any backlash to you whatsoever. The Jessica Yaniv. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The trans woman who wants her balls waxed. I've been reading about that this week. That was interesting. It's nice, isn't it? It's nice just to stand back sometimes and just see the fucking world burn in front of you. I don't know if you're aware of this, but Jessica Yaniv is a trans lady, trans woman, with the old cock and balls still. Now, she was upset and is suing, apparently suing people who wouldn't wax her cock and balls, and she's suing them for being transphobic. She walked into a waxing place and said, my balls, my big old balls. Again, a bit too furry. Can you wax my big old balls? And the lady said, look, we only do vaginas here. We don't do a big old cock and balls like that. And Jessica Yaniv said, but I'm a trans lady. I'm a lady. I don't do the old vagina, but I've got my big old cock and ball lady. Big old cock and balls needs waxing, and they said no. So she's now suing them for transphobia because the lady didn't want to wax her. I don't know whether it's a big cock or not, to be honest. But the balls, it's mainly the balls that were the issue. With the hair, I think. But she wanted them. Who wants their balls waxed? Firstly, in this situation, who wants their balls waxed? I imagine that's horrendous. The pain of that, because it's not just like waxing somebody's legs. Them balls are going to come with you. You're going to rip that off. They're, they're supple, the old balls, aren't they? You know, it's not just like a hard leg that you're going to just rip it off. There's going to be give in the balls, isn't there? They're going to come with you until it reaches the point where it rips it off. What sort of psychopath wants their fucking balls waxed? Jesus. It's bad enough trimming them up and you just catch them. Jesus. Like that. If you trim them up and catch them, it's painful. Waxing them, Jesus, that's psycho shit. But, and secondly, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's an odd one because, like the woman in there obviously doesn't want to deal with a testicle and balls. And, she wants the testicles and balls done. And she classes herself as a female, which you can do. I'm not against that at all. Class yourself as anything. But it's a bit of an old dilemma for the old waxer there, for the old beautician. I bet that didn't come up on the old health and beauty course, did it? When you took that about 10 years ago. You're going to be encountering a cock and balls at some point. Well, can't we just say no? Not anymore, you can't. Oh, dear. This is a classic quote, though. But she's apparently kicked off and stuff like that. Apparently she was applying for, through fake Facebook profiles as well, booking it in as a pregnant woman. I mean, you couldn't get any further away from a trans woman to a pregnant woman, surely. I don't know. But Yaniv argues that if you're a woman who is uncomfortable working with a penis... That is a hell of a fucking statement. That's a line there, isn't it? Yaniv argues that if you're a woman who is uncomfortable working with a penis, then you're automatically a transphobic bigot committing a hate crime. Jesus, man. I'm not sure. I think it's just one of these things where somebody's just like kicking off for the fucking sake of it. Surely you can wax, if it comes to it, you can wax your right. I have a right to have my balls waxed. Are you sure you just don't want a woman's hands all over your balls? Because it seems like that, doesn't it? That's a tough sell. Outside of beauticians with a fucking banner. I have a right to have my balls waxed. Not only is that untrue, it makes a mockery of the hate crimes that are committed against trans people every day. Well, it does a little bit, yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? I don't know, man. You're never going to solve this. You're always going to get people like, people who are taking everything to the extreme, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with, like, trans people, like, wanting to be trimmed down there. The old trimmed up trans. But, I think taking someone to court over it, like a woman, it's which trumps which, doesn't it? In this case, which one trumps the other one, isn't it? Whether it's a woman's right not to have a cock and balls shoved in her fucking face and have to deal with that, or a trans woman having the right to have a smooth bollocks. I think the women win out on this one. Surely, like, common sense would just dictate that, if you don't want to have a cock and balls shoved in your face to be able to deal with, or just do it, or just, like, hate having that and just really fucking make it the most painful fucking experience. If you're forced into waxing trans, a trans cock and balls, just make it the most painful fucking experience you could. Just rip it off really hard. Just get that aggression out, lady, of having to deal with that cock and balls. I don't know. It's a difficult one, isn't it? It is a difficult one. It's hard to weigh it up. Are you a trans bigot, or do you just not like to handle balls in your everyday job? Is that why you did health and beauty? Because you just wanted to be able to wax a vagina, just strip it off like that. That's nice and smooth. Now you've got to deal with a fucking pair of bollocks in a bag. I don't know. Anyway, it kind of made me laugh, but it kind of also sort of like kind of sums up today's issues about who's being treated the worst in society. And it just seems that, like, surely trans people have enough to deal with. That's not high on the agenda, I don't think. And I think some people just sometimes, I'm not saying everyone, because the majority of, I know trans people. Everyone I know is cool, man. And it just seems that, some people just go to the extreme. And that's why people turn around and go, this is political correctness gone mad, because people take it to the fucking extreme. Most trans people, I'm sure, are cool, don't really give a fuck, wouldn't kick off about that, just be like, yeah, okay, I understand, that's okay. But some people, you just get the extremes in everybody, don't you? Some people just kick off a little bit more than others. Anyway, that's it. That's how I dug myself out of that hole, people. And on that note, that's the end of the podcast. Beep. Run away, Ben, you cowardly shit. Anyway, that is the end of this episode. Episode 24. If you like podcasts, you can subscribe via Podbean or the Apple Podcasts site. It's just the Ben Briggs podcast. You can have a look on Facebook and subscribe to the page, like the page for the podcast, which is at the Ben Briggs podcast. If you want to send me a message or anything, it's just podcast@benbriggs.co.uk. I will be back Tuesday. I will give you an update of what this fucking gig is like tonight. I shall know myself in about 6 hours. So that's something to look forward to. Have a good weekend, and I'll check back in with you on Tuesday.